Let me introduce myself. I used to work at Google, then ran my startup FutureCam, which is a photography app. It's a camera app that lets you take photos using advanced algorithms. Then I worked as CTO of another startup. I now work as a consulting CTO with multiple companies. Today we are going to talk about protocols or extensions. Sorry, interfaces. Java calls them interfaces. Other languages like Swift call them protocols. And this applies only to statically typed languages. So if you work only in dynamically typed languages, you may not get much value from this video other than general learning. So what is a protocol? A protocol declares a set of functions that all implementing classes must provide. And how do we use them effectively? The classic use of protocols is when you have two classes that you wish to handle in the same way. For example, this is a protocol. It declares these three functions. In this case, these are getters, but it could be any function. And the name itself gives away, right? There are two implementations of this. One is an AV capture photo, one is a CM sample buffer. So here CM sample buffer implements this protocol, conforms to this protocol in iOS Speak, and so does AV capture photo. This is the classic use. You have two classes and you have a common interface in the form of a protocol. Otherwise, every time you have to use it, you have to say if the class is instance of this, call a function named A, otherwise call a function named B. By having a common interface, the call side does not need to handle two cases. This is the classic use of a protocol. The other use is to prevent a layering violation. In FutureCam, we have two layers. We have a photography layer and we have a UI layer in the code. And the main class in the photography layer is the camera class. The main class in the UI layer is main controller. And the lower layer has to invoke callbacks to tell the UI that something has happened so that the UI can be updated. I originally coded it up as this. In the camera, you have a delegate or a callback, which is a reference to main controller. But the problem with this is the camera class ended up invoking any and all functions of the main controller. This is a layering violation. The upper layer can be aware of the lower layers, but not the other way around. Because then the boundary is being destroyed. Both are merging together, and the code becomes messy and convoluted and hard to understand. So you shouldn't have that. To fix it, I created a protocol called camera delegate. And it has the functions that you expect. For example, when the recording status has changed, either it started recording or stopped recording, it calls this function. So the UI indicates that the recording has started or stopped. So all these functions, right? And the main controller implements the camera delegate protocol. And it provides implementations of these functions. So like recording status changed. And the camera class has a delegate which is of type camera delegate. It is not main controller. So originally it was like this. The delegate static type was main controller. Now it's delegate. So now the compiler will prevent you from calling functions except those that are here. The dynamic type is still main controller, but the static type is camera delegate. So this is one use of a protocol to prevent a layering violation. The third use is to define extensions which are more lightweight than classes. I made a video about that. I'll put a link in the description. The fourth use of a protocol or an interface if you're from Java is at API boundaries to prevent implementation details from leaking out. For example, suppose you're building a messaging app. You could define an API this way. Say you have a callback on message received. When somebody sends you a message, this callback is invoked. Here, message could be an interface instead of a class. And it has functions like get sender, get attachment. You could have like a get text, the actual text of the message, and so on, right? Whatever properties the message has. And these could again be interfaces. So that way, your API is not leaking implementation details. Tomorrow you could use a different class to actually implement this. So this is a technique that you could use at API boundaries if you're offering a public API to ensure that clients don't depend on what they should not be depending on. They should depend on the interface, not the implementation, not the classes. So to summarize, you can use protocols to treat two classes the same way, to prevent a layering violation, to define extensions, and to prevent implementation details from leaking out at API boundaries. Don't define an interface for every class. That is over-engineering it. An interface is a solution to a specific problem. You should use it only if you have that problem. An air conditioner is a solution to a specific problem. Your room is too hot. If your room is not too hot, you don't need an air conditioner, right? So don't think these are good principles and mindlessly apply them everywhere. They are tools. If you have a solution, if you have a problem, you need the solution. Otherwise, you don't. So anyway, this is about how to use protocols or interfaces effectively. If you have any thoughts, share them in the comments so that we can learn from each other. If you found this useful, subscribe to this channel so that you'll be notified when I post more videos like this. And if you want me to help your team with code quality, there's a link in the description. Thank you.